In all types of ISA, once you've planned, researched and completed your candidate research notes, the Section 1 exam paper will ask you to list and then compare the two sources of information you shortlisted. The question, as shown, is exactly the format that's been used in all the ISAs we've seen so far. If you look very carefully, you're being asked to list two of the sources used and then explain which was the more useful of the two and why. So let's have a look at a possible student answer. First of all, in response to being asked to name two sources, we're given this, and secondly, when asked which source was more useful and why, we're given this. Please pause the video, look at the blue student responses very carefully, compare them to the questions posed, and ask yourself how many marks you'd give this if you were a teacher marking this. Okay, so if we start by looking at the response to identify two sources, the candidate has given an enumerated list of, first of all, GCSE chemistry textbook, and then secondly, a website address. Unfortunately, the chemistry reference for the textbook is not good enough. There are lots of GCSE chemistry textbooks. It needs to be possible to uniquely identify the book, so we need things like publisher or, even better, ISBN. Source 2, the website, is detailed enough in its reference, but because source 1 wasn't, actually the marking would stop here. This would score 0 marks. So key points, fully reference your sources. Let's, just for the sake of it, consider the student's second answer. In response to which of these sources did you find more useful, why was this source better, they've named source 2 as far better, as it described an experiment like the one they wanted to do, including giving a risk assessment. Well, if they'd have got their referencing for their sources earlier right, this would have scored a mark. The reason why it wouldn't have got full marks is because it needs to be an explicit comparison. So allow me to show you how easy that is. They just had to say source 2 was better as it described an experiment like the one I wanted, including a risk assessment, whereas source 2 had no risk assessment. These comparisons do not need to be highly technical. It could be simple as source 1 was better than source 2, as source 1 contained helpful diagrams and source 2 did not. So it's a simple comparison, but it must be really explicit and name both sources.